And a very good Friday morning to you, Weather or Not meteorologist Evan Hatter with a check of your morning forecast, brought to you as always by On Target. And we're hitting Facebook maybe a touch early this morning because we do have a lot to discuss on an active weather period that is taking shape as we head later tonight and into the day tomorrow, where we do have multiple chances for heavy rain and severe weather. So let's go ahead and dive right in. First, let's talk about last night. For those of you who perhaps were following along with the SEC tournament and said, you know what, I'm just going to stay up and watch the blood moon. Yeah, we had several pictures of the total lunar eclipse last night. Obviously, it's called a blood moon because as the Earth's shadow gets in between the sunlight that usually reflects off the moon's surface, it turns blood red from our perspective. Joe DeRosa's photos overnight bringing us that look at the blood moon during the overnight hours. It was an astronomical celestial spectacle for those of you who were perhaps impressed by another spectacle at Bridgestone Arena last night. You know, if you know, you know. The thrifty Anemone sent us these photos as well. Nice photos of the blood moon during the overnight hours. Totality peaked there just after 2 o'clock. Or right around 2 o'clock. So it was wonderful to see out there, especially folks who are getting out and enjoying. It was actually rather nice outside as we went through last night and into this morning as well. The view from our Morgantown Skycam there in Butler County, the moon now no longer in shadow, and we expect it to stay that way for quite a while until the next lunar eclipse, whose date I do not have off the top of my head. It happens, right? Our Lovers Lane Soccer Complex Skycam in Bowling Green showing the moon as well. It's also reflecting off some of those high clouds that have already started to work in this morning. Some of those clouds that have worked in also keeping those temperatures a little on the milder side at times this morning. Look at Russellville. We are starting quite a bit above where we should be for highs this time of year. A 59-degree reading right before 6 a.m. on Pie Day, March 14th. Get out and have a slice of pie for me because, we are going to continue to stay busy here in the weather department as we work through the next 36 hours or so. 57 in Franklin, 56 on the Warren-Barron County line, and again over into Scottsville this morning as our temperatures update at the absolute worst time. 47 Morgantown, north side of Bowling Green, and 49 the WKU Research Farm. So you can already see we're building in those warmer temperatures as we work through this morning. That's a harbinger of things to come as we watch an extremely powerful low pressure system. It's currently in northeast Colorado. It's undergoing what we call Lee cyclogenesis. That is a small word and a very big word, just to say that as this comes off the front range of the Rockies, this low is expected to deepen and strengthen as we head through the day. Cold front already draped from northeast Colorado down through Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. This low is going to cause multiple problems, severe weather being only one of those. Big time winter weather on the back side of it and on the southwest side of it, with as much wind as low pressure like this is going to cook up. I'm talking below 975 millibars. Normally, average sea level pressure is about 1,013 millibars, so this is strong low pressure. It's also going to kick up the wind on the backside of it. We'll get on some of that wind as well, but on the backside of it, where things are very, very dry across New Mexico and Texas, they're looking at critical wildfire danger, one of perhaps the biggest critical wildfire risks ever seen across portions of the region because of how gusty the winds are going to be. For us, those wind gusts, 30 to 40 miles per hour at times. We'll talk about our wind advisory that's in place as we head through tonight into tomorrow. But what this wind is going to do is not only will it bring moisture up from the Gulf Coast, it will also bring up very warm temperatures. This is the high-resolution rapid refresh, and you notice temperature-wise, we're getting up into the upper 70s to near 80 today. Usually these models underestimate the warmth, so I do expect we'll get up into the lower 80s during the day today just because the environment to bring up that very warm air is there. All the conditions are there for quite a bit of warmth throughout the day today. And throughout the day today, I think we're in, other than the breezy conditions, okay shape. No weather worries during the workday today, during the school day today, even through much of the evening, looking okay. It's as we head later on tonight into the overnight that our severe weather parameters go up. All right, this is a high-resolution rapid refresh. See, not a whole lot going on in our vicinity, but by 8 o'clock, starting to see individual cells starting to pop ahead of the main line out to the west. This is 11 o'clock tonight. Give yourself an hour or two buffer here for when these storms might move in. But the model's indicating the potential is there to bring in those storms as early for some of us as 1 or 2 a.m. And notice how these storms are popping ahead of the main line. There's the main line out to the west near St. Louis. Storms popping across West Kentucky. That's something that needs to be watched very carefully because those storms would be out on their own. They're able to take advantage of the extraordinary wind shear, the changing of wind speed and direction with height, as well as the instability that will still be in place across this area, that we're going to need to keep an eye on the potential for severe weather as early as 11 or midnight, especially out to our west. That's where the greater severe threat is going to be. Those storms should continue to race to the east, heading into the overnight hours. And you notice as we head into 4 o'clock, even some of those scattered cells are still kind of on their own. Look at this. Down near Nashville, well, another one near Bowling Green. Don't take these locations as the gospel, but I mean, look at that shape. That would indicate that any of these cells, with the environment that we have, which will be more hostile to thunderstorm development heading into the overnight, but any one of those thunderstorms could continue conceivably to produce severe weather. But notice we're getting, as we head later into the nighttime hours, fewer and fewer of those bright red and pink cores. And you see by the early parts of tomorrow, we're finally getting a break, even though a couple of downpours can't be ruled out. Big time severe weather threat to our south. But notice as we head into the afternoon, we start to see rain and thunderstorms work on into the region. Any one of those embedded cells could also produce severe weather into the afternoon tomorrow. Again, I think the greatest threat of severe weather remains to our west tonight and to our south tomorrow. But that doesn't mean we don't have a risk for severe weather as we head into the next 36 hours or so. And then finally, as we head towards Saturday night, things finally start to calm down late Saturday night into Sunday morning. So this is a wider view kind of explaining what's going on. Very strong low pressure out to the west will start to develop that squall line out to the west during the overnight hours. This is late evening into the overnight, but notice this particular model, this is the high-resolution NAM, really wants to bring those storms through by about, this is 6, 7, 8 in the morning. And then eventually what happens is that area of storms pushes east, but the cold front kind of detaches from the stronger forcing from the low pressure that starts to push up into the north and east, into the northern plain states. And then what happens is a secondary low starts to form across portions of the deep south. And that is rather problematic because this very strong low pressure that we've already seen has started to draw quite a bit of warmth and moisture from the Gulf Coast up into especially areas like Mississippi and Alabama. But as that low pressure develops and starts to push on to the north and east, it will impart even more spin into the atmosphere for areas down south that they will likely have to deal with a tornado outbreak across portions of Mississippi and Alabama. You see scattered storms pushing up into our region during the afternoon hours, but any one of those individual cells across Mississippi and Alabama will have the potential to produce strong tornadoes, quite frankly, into the evening hours. Further north, the shear gets a little less favorable, and we really drop some of the fuel into the evening hours. We'll show you a composite index that will kind of explain where we are there. But then again, as everything pushes east during the overnight hours, we finally finish the severe weather threat. heading into the late overnight hours. This is, what index is this? This is the Supercell Composite Index, which is, you don't need to know exactly all that goes into this, but it just shows you how favorable the atmosphere is to see rotating thunderstorms. And you notice as we head into the overnight, we spike some of those values across West Kentucky, Southwest Indiana, Southern Illinois, and then really maximize it in the Boot Heel of Missouri. And then as we head further and further into our Tuesday or into our Saturday morning, those indices really drop off. Early afternoon, the models have been trying to indicate this area of further development, or at least further enhanced parameters. The issue there is there are no storms to take advantage of it. So you can have all the advanced parameters you want all day long. If there's no storms to take advantage of it, the severe threat isn't there. It's something we'll watch, but again, notice how it really starts to spike across Mississippi and Alabama, and as we head into the afternoon and evening hours on our Saturday, really doesn't make it this far north, and we really keep that severe weather threat, comparatively speaking, in check. One more to show you here. Usually we don't show this one on Facebook. This is the significant tornado parameter. What it shows is the likelihood that rotating thunderstorms can produce larger tornadoes. It takes into account storm fuel and the environment, the kinematics up in the upper atmosphere. And you notice as we head into the overnight, it starts to increase across Illinois and far west Kentucky. This is well before any storms get here, so there's no storms to take advantage of this during the afternoon and evening hours here. But notice out to the west, Missouri, Arkansas, into Mississippi and West Tennessee, those values spike above 4 to 5. That is very significant. But notice, into the overnight hours, they dissipate. The environment just never gets all the way here to see significant tornadoes. That doesn't mean we can't see a brief spin up, but I want to emphasize that a lot of folks may be seeing chatter on social media about a tornado outbreak, potential out to the west tomorrow or today, or late tonight, and then further to the south tomorrow. That is where the best chance for strong tornadoes will be across far west Kentucky, into the Boot Heel of Missouri, into Illinois, and then further to the south tomorrow into Mississippi and Alabama. You notice, again, there's a little spike in values across southwest Indiana, west Kentucky, and southern Illinois. This is late tomorrow morning, but the storms are well east. There's no storms around to take advantage of it. And as the low pressure, as the main low continues to move off to the north, that area just kind of dissipates. But notice across Mississippi and Alabama, those values are maximized 5 to 6. That indicates a strong confidence in the potential for strong, perhaps long-lived tornadoes across Mississippi and Alabama. You notice our values are less than 0.5, and they never really get very high. So while we do have a severe threat, I think our threat for the larger tornadoes is rather low here. Doesn't mean we can't see severe weather tomorrow, or late tonight into tomorrow. That's where the latest outlook comes into place. The vast majority of us into the overnight in that level 2 slight risk for severe weather. The level 3 enhanced risk comes up to about Russellville during the overnight hours. That should give you the indication that we expect the worst weather to be out toward Paducah, through central Illinois, out towards Cape Girardeau and St. Louis. But we still have that lower end, not low end, but lower end severe threat into the overnight hours. In fact, showing the whole central region, you can see the moderate risk goes from east of Omaha to Des Moines, down towards Champaign, Springfield, and into St. Louis, and down toward Paducah and into northwest Tennessee. That's where the greatest threat for severe weather, at least the highest confidence for the severe weather, will be. That's where the severe weather outbreak, should it come to fruition, is going to be. We get a weakening version of those storms. But even so, these storms will be hitting in the middle of the night, so you need to make sure you have more than one way to get the warnings. If you have wireless emergency alerts on your phone, a weather radio. We don't want you to rely on outdoor warning sirens just because those are hard to hear in buildings and late at night. So you really want to have, especially the phone, if you have some sort of service that may call you or send notifications to your phone with the when those warnings are issued, as well as a NOAA weather radio that can wake you up in the middle of the night if there is severe weather. And for our Cats fans, you may be awake anyway at this point if we have another day like we did yesterday where the knock on wood second game of the SEC tournament goes to overtime, double overtime again. Into tomorrow, most of us in the level 2 slight risk again. But again, watching where that enhanced risk goes, the enhanced risk basically from Russellville to Bowling Green to Glasgow and points south. But again, the moderate risk is across the deep south, and you'll see that here from, let's say, Baton Rouge to Jackson to Huntsville and to the Georgia-Alabama border, and even taking in parts of the panhandle of Florida as well. Again, lower end threat, but still a threat as we head into the day on Saturday. You see those tornado probabilities. 15% is very significant. I think the last 15% we had was last April during that outbreak last April. And then the hatched area, which does come up to Bowling Green, indicating the potential for EF2 or stronger tornadoes. Again, I think the main threat for that is going to be further to the south, but we need to keep very close eyes on things. I promise we'll be wrapping up soon. Wind advisory goes into effect at 4 o'clock this afternoon, running through 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Wind gusts over 40 miles per hour will be likely, especially as we head late tonight and into tomorrow. There's that severe weather threat again. Damaging winds, brief tornadoes. Obviously, that doesn't mean long track, stronger tornadoes, but if one of those brief tornadoes hits your house, you've got a problem. So that's why even the brief tornadoes we want to talk about, and we want to make sure everybody is aware of that potential into the overnight. Isolated instances of hail. We don't have great ingredients for hail around here. Again, the tornado outlook is mainly to the west of Interstate 65, but we'll be watching areas like western Logan County, western Butler County during the overnight hours as that threat starts to diminish as it pushes further to the east. We talked about the wind and the hail outlooks already coming up to Russellville with the significant wind potential overnight. And then the severe timing you see between 1 and 4 a.m. is going to be our main threat to see those storms start to work into our region. And then as they hit I-65, they should start to weaken during the overnight hours. There's the map we showed you already, but the map for Saturday. The primary threat is still going to be flooding with this round, with, again, damaging winds, large hail, and isolated tornadoes, especially if we can get any of those individual cells to pop and cross the Kentucky-Tennessee line. Those are the ones we're going to have to watch very closely. And then the rainfall forecast, again, depends on where that low goes, but if you get 2 to 3 inches of rain in an hour, we're going to have to watch the usual flood-prone areas. Avoid Fairview in a situation like this as we head through tomorrow. Perhaps as that drains, areas like the Green River at Woodbury and Rochester could go in a minor flood stage as we head into early parts of next week, but nothing major on the river flooding. But we have to watch those flood-prone areas into the overnight hours tonight. Let's update that 7-day or the next 6-day weather forecast, I should say. 82 and breezy today. 62 overnight with those showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be strong to severe. More strong to severe showers and storms possible as we head into the day tomorrow. A little cooler because we'll be dealing with clouds and showers. Those showers should start to diminish into the Saturday night time frame, into the 50s. That front pushes through. We're only in the upper 50s for Sunday. Mid-30s Sunday night. We're nicer Monday into Tuesday. Cooler, mid-60s Monday. Mid-70s on Tuesday. We bring shower chances back to the forecast as our next system starts to work in toward Wednesday. Looking at it right now, I can't completely rule out a strong storm or two. It's not as dynamic as the system moving through now, certainly, but it does have the potential for some gusty winds. But I just don't think we're going to get a lot of moisture return out of the Gulf to promote a severe weather threat. But we'll continue to watch it. Certainly no alarm bells ringing about next week or anything. But it is something we will continue to watch. Keep an eye on our social media today as we continue to keep a close eye on the potential for strong to severe storms late tonight and again tomorrow. Some folks asking, Warren Logan County is going to be fine. Well, again, we just have to keep an eye out for the potential for severe weather. The area, Rion asking about the area near St. Louis. That's where the greater threat's going to be tonight, and then further to the south tomorrow across Mississippi and Alabama. But it is something we'll be watching very, very closely late tonight and into tomorrow. I got to wrap this up because we've taken 18 minutes of your time this morning. We're very grateful that you have chosen us as your weather source, and we'll continue to keep an eye on things throughout the day and into the overnight hours as well. Meteorologist Evan Hatter with a check of your Weather Not morning forecast, brought to you as always by On Target. Let's make it a great Friday out there. It's Pie Day. Have a slice for me.